New anxiety about the American economy, and President Bush is shouldering much of the blame.
This is NBC Nightly News reported by Garrett Utley. Substituting tonight, Mary Alice Williams.
Good evening. Consumer confidence. That's what everyone from the president to your local car salesman says is needed to jumpstart the economy. But a Newsweek poll out tonight shows Americans are anything but confident. 44% say they are worse off than they were a year ago. 59% disapprove of the way President Bush is handling the economy. With a presidential campaign ahead, no issue will more galvanize voters than a bleak economic outlook. NBC's chief economics correspondent Irving R. Levine reports.
The latest readings of the economy's vital signs could hardly be more dismal. Huge losses for U.S. auto companies, home construction slumping, applications for unemployment insurance checks on the rise again, and the consumer whose spending was supposed to pull the economy out of the doldrums.
Consumers don't have the money to spend. Their debt is very high. They're worried about their jobs, and it's going to take more money in their pockets for consumers' confidence to go up to the point where they're willing to spend more money.
And with the all-important holiday shopping season approaching, consumers show no signs of loosening up.
It's been a little bit tougher this year than it was last year, so definitely I'll spend less.
Less this year because I have less to spend.
President Bush has acknowledged that the economy is sluggish, but he maintains that the recession is over. But many are not convinced.
President Bush keeps saying that we're out of the recession, but he's not in our end of the country. We're not.
The U.S. auto industry, which creates jobs in many other businesses, shows no signs of coming out of its slump.
Right now, nobody's making money in this country. Not Toyota, not Mercedes, not General Motors. Nobody. And what it's going to take to bring any and all of those companies back to profitability is going to be a good economy.
And what will that take?
I think we'll have to bring down interest rates, make it possible for people to borrow automobile financing.
But the drop in key interest rates from 12% as the nation began sliding into recession to 8% now, a big drop, has failed to do the trick. So now, with an election approaching, there's increasing talk in Washington, particularly among Democrats, about a tax cut to put more spending money into people's pockets. But that could increase the deficit and government borrowing, which in turn could push up interest rates. And higher interest rates could push us right back into a worse recession. Irving R. Levine, NBC News, Washington.
With us now, White House Budget Director Richard Darman. Good evening.
Good evening.
Republicans and Democrats have proposed tax cuts. Can the government take the loss? Can the deficit bulge even more?
Well, it could be done if it were combined with a capital gains cut, as the president has proposed. The two together could be done consistent with the budget agreement. The problem is it's one thing to propose it, and it's another thing to get it from the Congress in satisfactory form, and that, I would say, is the more serious worry.
Wait a minute. Is politics on both sides stifling a solution here?
I think it would be good if people could put politics aside and do the right thing, and it would be a constructive thing to have the proposals the president has put forward enacted, and they should be enacted, and they could be done along with a middle-income tax cut and not in a way that would hurt the budget.
Since June, the White House has insisted the recession is over. Now, for many Americans, that hasn't been true. To what extent is the administration's credibility getting in the way of consumer confidence?
I think that the president has said quite clearly what I think most economists would agree. The economy did turn technically, probably in May, had a couple of good months, normal months coming out of a recession, and then in the last couple of months has had signs of sputtering, and that's all the more reason for us to try to get the right things done by the Congress.
Mr. Darman, it's been reported that the Republican strategy for the re-election campaign of the president is to blame Congress. Is blaming Congress solving the problem?
No, not at all. And I haven't personally heard that strategy articulated or adopted in any serious way around the White House, at least. The important thing is to get the economy moving. That's good for the public. It's our responsibility. It happens also to be good politics. I don't think it makes sense to be blaming unnecessarily. The important thing at this point is to get the job done.
And when can that be done? Soon enough?
It could be done right away. The president has had 6 major economic growth-oriented proposals before the Congress for more than 2 years without action, and so it could be done right away if there were the will.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Darman, Richard Darman. And when Nightly News continues, we'll focus on drugs in prison, as available inside as they are on the street. And as Jesse Turner gets to know his daughter, what must it be like to try to make up the years?
Now you can ask Angela Lansbury about Bufferin.
Angela, you've said on TV that Bufferin is effective pain relief. Is it really strong aspirin?
I'll say it is. Extra strength Bufferin's the strongest dose of aspirin you can buy. 1,000 milligrams.
Angela, how can Bufferin be so strong if it has buffers?
That's a good question. I've learned the buffers don't weaken it. They just help prevent aspirin's stomach upset. Bufferin's great pain relief.
Shouldn't you discover the strength of Bufferin?
It's Domino's Pizza's Bacon Cheeseburger Pizza Feast. A medium pizza topped with ground beef, bacon, and an extra layer of cheese. Now just $8.99. 2 for $12.99.
Nobody knows like Domino's how you like pizza at home.
If you're serious about whole grain, remember, Wheaties has it. These guys don't. Better get your whole grain.
You better eat your Wheaties.
Former Washington Mayor Marion Barry today entered a federal prison in Virginia to begin serving a 6-month sentence for possession of cocaine. As supporters said goodbye at his home, Barry complained about receiving the maximum sentence for his conviction, while many other first-time drug offenders get probation. Barry was also fined $5,000 and must pay $1,700 a month for room and board at the minimum security prison. From drugs to guns, how many times have we heard how easy it is to buy a gun in this country? But these days, more and more criminals aren't bothering to buy their guns. They're stealing them from gun shops and killing to get them. NBC's James Polk.
In Havre de Grace, Maryland this week, a double funeral. 2 sisters, elderly widows, killed in a robbery of the gun store they ran together. In Baltimore a month before, another gun store robbery, another murder. The owner shot without warning. His son.
He said, "Can I help you?" And that was it. Bang.
It's a scary new crime trend coast to coast. In San Diego, a shootout. Both a robber and the gun store owner dead. In a Cleveland suburb, another owner murdered. Stolen an Uzi, other submachine guns, 44 Magnums, 9mm pistols.
Where did the guns go? They show up on the streets, they show up quick, and they show up in other crimes. What kind of crimes? A lot of them go to into drugs and narcotics trafficking, intimidation, drive-by shootings, whatever.
Other murders?
Other murders.
In the Washington, D.C. area, a big jump in gun store burglaries, 50 in the past year. Soon after thieves punched through the wall of this store, one gun was used in a drug murder. A submachine gun was taken from a 16-year-old doing stick-ups.
Twice before in the past year, the gun shop here in Havre de Grace had been broken into. Guns were recovered as far away as Georgia, Florida, New York City, where one stolen gun was used to kill 5 other people, 2 of them children. In only one of the nation's gun store murders this year has anyone been caught. In Baltimore, where police arrested 8 suspects the same day and found some guns still in their duffel bag. Gun stores are putting in surveillance cameras, and store clerks now carry guns. The amount of security at a lot of firearms dealers now is every bit as much as you'd find at a bank.
One thing hasn't changed, gun store owners' resistance to tougher gun laws.
What else could we do to stop this? I mean, this has nothing to do with the law. They're breaking the law.
The gun violence that besieges much of America has now come home to gun stores. James Polk, NBC News, Havre de Grace, Maryland.
Now to the Middle East. With just 4 days to go before the opening of a Mideast peace conference in Madrid, passions were running high today in Israel. An estimated 20,000 Israelis demonstrated for peace. They called on Prime Minister Shamir to abandon his hard line, to give up land for peace and freeze new settlements in the occupied territories. At the same time, a small demonstration by right-wing protesters who said Shamir should not give up 1 inch of territory. Those oil fires in Kuwait are fading into history. Today, the Kuwaiti oil company said that of the 727 oil well fires set by Iraq, only 30 are still burning. It said those fires should be extinguished within 2 weeks. On assignment Earth tonight, the wetlands in this country. The Bush administration has been swamped with protests against its plan to remove vast areas from federal protection. More from NBC's Robin Lloyd.
The vast floodplains of the Florida Everglades. This is what most people think of as wetlands. But under the new proposed federal regulations, a large portion of this protected area would no longer be considered a wetland, nor would thousands of acres outside the park, an important buffer zone.
We did find in applying just the hydrology part of the criteria that there would be a considerable amount of acreage that would no longer be classified as wetland.
From the Everglades to the prairie potholes of the Dakotas, not just parks officials but state environmental agencies are stunned by how severely their wetlands would be impacted. Tens of millions of acres of open land could be targeted for development.
It's sandy on the bottom, isn't it?
Characteristics which used to define wetlands, like the color of the soil, the presence of certain plants, aren't enough anymore. Now, proof must be shown on a daily basis of the presence of water for 2 to 3 weeks. Testing in wetlands areas have shown that Delaware would lose protection of half its wetlands. So would Oregon and Pennsylvania. Illinois would lose even more, nearly 70%. One state official said the new manual defining wetlands is scientifically flawed.
I think from a scientific and technical standpoint, the new manual doesn't really give you the tools and doesn't really represent what a true wetland is.
Big business and land developers are solidly behind the changes.
In most situations, I think people want a wetlands to be wet.
The new wetlands plan may have satisfied the concerns of many landowners, but instead of clearing up confusion over what a wetland is, it seems to have intensified the debate. Environmental officials from 16 states have expressed strong opposition. New Jersey, New York, Oregon, and Pennsylvania are threatening to maintain their own regulations rather than lose the acreage. Is the president in trouble with his new wetlands plan? Blaine Liner, an environmental opinion expert at the Urban Institute, says the president may have to compromise.
If the resistance and the hostility to this national policy is such that it provokes the states to enact their own tougher standards, then it has become a lose-lose issue.
The nation's wetlands, the new plan redefining them, may soon leave the Bush administration on politically soft ground. Robin Lloyd, NBC News, Delaware.
One of America's most powerful rock music promoters, Bill Graham, has been killed in a helicopter crash near San Francisco. He was 60 years old. Graham fled Nazi Germany as a child and went on to own the Fillmore East and West, the temples of 60s rock and roll, and he managed some of the hottest groups in the business, including Jefferson Airplane and Santana.
Where do you want to be next year?
You know, I don't plan to be a partner in this firm forever. In fact, I've been doing something on the side that could be very rewarding. I have an offer to work full-time with some kids. Pays $11,000 a year. Now, how can we restructure my portfolio so I can tell them yes?
You can get there from here with Shearson Lehman Brothers.
Sometimes I feel like I'm being pulled in a dozen directions at once. Stress, poor diet, irregularity. Then I read about fiber therapy with new Metamucil wafers. They taste like cookies. So while the kids have their milk and cookies, I have my fiber.
New Metamucil fiber wafers. Just 2 little wafers have as much soluble fiber as this bowl full of apples. Extra fiber you may need to stay regular.
I still can't slow down, but at least now I can keep up.
New Metamucil fiber wafers. Fiber therapy for busy people.
If you don't have AT&T 800 service and something happens, who knows how long you could be out. But if you do have AT&T, you're automatically protected by the 800 Assurance Policy. Not only that, since AT&T connects calls faster and has the fewest blocked calls, more 800 calls get through. So you can make more sales. Better service, better results. Another AT&T advantage. Call about our 800 offer.
On Focus tonight, we look at drug dealing, not in the streets, but behind bars. To say that drugs are illegal in this country's prisons is not to say that drugs and alcohol aren't available to inmates. NBC's Deborah Roberts takes us to Florida, where officials are now beginning to deal with the problem.
In Florida's overcrowded prison system, they're squeezing in almost 45,000 inmates this year. Whether first offender or veteran criminal, once in, many quickly learn one thing. Doing time can also include doing drugs. Just listen to inmates talk about their idea of confinement.
There's a lot of drugs there, homemade wine, a lot of crack and pot, a lot of pills.
Oh, I've done it all, especially in prison.
This 21-year-old murderer is now dying of alcoholism. He says he's guzzled gallons of homemade prison wine. He claims guards looked the other way and even smuggled in drugs and liquor.
You know, the officers here, you know, they don't get paid much, so, you know, you find one that likes to get some extra money, and he usually does it.
A 2-year statewide investigation found that Florida inmates could get almost any drug they found on the streets. A visitor smuggled in marijuana in the bottom of this shoe, and an inmate was caught with this stash of marijuana in his sock. There are also stories of families financing drug deals. This ex-convict once got his family to wire money to another inmate's outside bank account.
I did have some drugs, and they were given to me on credit. And I was late paying, and because I was late paying, I was sucker punched.
Florida government officials recognize the prison drug problem. Earlier this year, David Smith, a former state detective, was hired to police the prisons.
The state of Florida has a very bad drug problem. We all know that. And that problem is in the prison system also.
Other states are battling prison drug problems too. California, Illinois, and Texas are cleaning up their prisons with random mandatory drug testing of inmates and drug-sniffing dogs. Smith promises to do the same in Florida. Critics charge society will pay if there are no changes. 1/3 of Florida's inmates are jailed for drug offenses. And as long as they can find drugs in prison, rehabilitation is virtually impossible. Deborah Roberts, NBC News.
In a moment, the weekend review and a look behind a hostage reunion.
Have you had your V8 today? Did you know that V8 juice has less than half the calories of that apple?
Wow!
Did you know that V8 has more vitamins A and C than that tossed salad?
Wow!
And did you know that V8 is 100% vegetable juice, so it has no fat, unlike that low-fat yogurt?
Wow!
So how do you feel now that you know these things?
Wow! I gotta have a V8.
V8 is a nutritious blend of 8 vegetable juices that taste terrific. Have you had your V8 today?
With this blindfold on, tell me what you smell.
I can't smell anything. Did you put it up there yet? It's stuffed up so far into my nose I just can't blow it out. I just want to be able to breathe.
Would you try Dristan 12-hour nasal spray? With this blindfold on again, tell me what you smell now.
I can smell an orange, but that wasn't there that last time.
What do you feel now?
I can breathe all the way up through my nose. It cleared me up. Boom. Dristan nasal spray just works incredibly fast.
Dristan, the face of relief today.
Everyone has a dream, a vision deep inside.
When I decide to follow up on an investing idea, I need a broker who's ready when I am.
We make it easier to follow your own lead.
I can call Schwab at any hour, nights or weekends, get the information I need, even place an order to trade.
Always there to give you just the help you need.
Help yourself at Schwab today. Alaska. Cold, clear waters. This is where it begins. Red Lobster now brings you the Alaskan Crab Rush. When snow crab is at its sweetest, juiciest. Right now, enjoy 8 great crab dinners starting at just $8.99. The Alaskan Crab Rush. Before it's over, rush to Red Lobster.
Time now for the weekend review. Some of the top stories in the news this past week. A firestorm killed at least 24 people in California's Oakland Hills. Arson may have been a factor. More than 3,000 homes and 1,800 acres destroyed. In Michigan, the man known as Dr. Death struck again. Jack Kevorkian provided machines that helped 2 more women end their lives. He has not yet been charged with any crime.
This is a tax.
President Bush and Senate Democrats finally cut a deal on a civil rights bill. It'll make it easier for women and minorities to sue for discrimination. In Paris, 19 nations signed a peace agreement to end the civil war in Cambodia. And Secretary of State Baker said the U.S. will try to normalize relations with Vietnam if it helps account for 2,300 American MIAs. And after almost 5 years in captivity, Jesse Turner came home a hero to Boise, Idaho, with his wife and the daughter he met for the first time.
So all I want to say is thank you. Thanks for everything.
And so a hostage becomes a father. A little girl becomes her father's daughter. NBC's Dennis Murphy on the joy and the sorrow.
After almost 5 years of waiting, the call comes. He's out. Badr Turner and her daughter Joanna dashing suddenly now for the plane to Germany.
Me and Joanna, when we are alone, I feel like something is missing all the time. So I hope we will be family again.
Family again. But for Joanna, her father is a snapshot. She was born 5 months after he was abducted in Beirut. Badr has packed all Joanna's baby photos, the birthday parties Jesse Turner missed.
What you are going to tell him when you see him? Oh.
Of the hostages who've walked into Wiesbaden Military Hospital, Turner is the first to meet a child who's a stranger.
He's really a victim who needs to get himself together, and yet he has this extraordinary thing, a child who is alive and there with many, many expectations of him, many of those very idealized.
Later, Mrs. Turner recounted the meeting of father and daughter.
She said to him, Daddy, in a nice voice, and he said to her, sweetheart, and he gave her a doll, which is that one. Very cute, and she loves it, and she named it Sandra.
Father meeting daughter, daughter meeting the snapshot come to life. Doctors expect it will be a difficult adjustment on both sides.
Well, just not having seen one's loved one in 5 years, 4 years, I think that is a stress. Dealing with, well, in this case, a brand new daughter. Those are all things that have to be thought about and have to be talked about.
Happy birthday to you.
Salome Anderson, daughter of hostage Terry Anderson, who turns 44 tomorrow. Salome, like Joanna until this week, has never seen her father, except on tapes like these. The gunmen who kidnapped the hostages stole years from their lives. With Turner and Anderson, it's been an especially cruel theft, the lost joy of watching their children blossom. Joanna, Salome.
I hope you will be home soon. I expect you will be home very, very soon. We've heard that in the radio that you will be home soon. And we know you will.
Dennis Murphy, NBC News, Wiesbaden, Germany.
And the waiting goes on for 3 other Americans, in addition to Terry Anderson, Joseph Sicipio, Alan Steen, and Thomas Sutherland.
It started early this morning, that feeling that something was a little off. But by noon, her fever had started to climb. Her whole body ached. And now at 5:30, she's coughing, congested. Her head is pounding. Kate Porter has the flu. And now all she can think about is relief. Theraflu relief. Theraflu is serious flu medicine doctors recommend. Soothing, hot liquid relief to ease flu symptoms fast. Theraflu, your flu misery stops here.
Where do you want to be in 5 years?
I had an old Studebaker truck and $300 when I started this company. In a few years, my sons will be ready to take over, and then I'd like to... I never told anybody this. I want to live in Paris and go to cooking school. Hey, that's what I want to do. Will I have the money to do it?
You can get there from here with Shearson Lehman Brothers.
This town is sending more people to the 1992 Olympic Games than the U.S. and Russia combined. It's the home of Olsen Travel World. They rush out thousands of tickets to the Olympic Games by express mail guaranteed overnight service. Express mail picks up unlimited packages for one low charge.
Morning, John. Good morning.
Which saves Olsen money as they prepare America's other 1992 hopefuls.
Here we come.
When you get gas pain, you've got a choice. Your antacid or Gas-X, the tablet made for gas pain. It's extra strength, 100% simethicone to get rid of gas faster than your antacid. Fight gas right with Gas-X.
While many Americans were watching bulky men bashing heads on the gridiron today, the denizens of London were engaged in a more cerebral contest, a matchup of memory men, the World Series of Total Recall. Here's NBC's Margaret Larson.
815839.
Creighton Carvello is memorizing his local phone book.
Barry R. 73 Trimden Avenue.
That's 598799.
How do you do this?
It's a gift. I told you earlier.
He does it, he says, to keep sharp. He has a reputation to protect. You see, Carvello's been known as the memory man since 1980, when he recited the number pi from memory to more than 20,000 decimal places. That put him in the Guinness Book of World Records and made him a legend in the pubs of northern England, where he demonstrates tricks like this, glancing at a deck of cards one by one, then calling them off in order from memory.
9 of clubs. 5 of diamonds.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant, yeah.
But was the memory man brilliant enough to keep his title? This week, his pub mates were grilling him, helping him prepare for his biggest challenge yet, the first ever World Memory Championship in London today.
My main aim is to be known as the best memory man in the world. I think I'm already, but make it official.
Standing in Carvello's way at today's competition was this fellow, Dominic O'Brien, a newcomer who took up memory training 4 years ago after seeing the old veterans' card tricks.
I was inspired by one of the other competitors, Creighton Carvello. I watched him memorize a pack in 2 minutes 59 seconds, and I thought I could improve upon that.
They fought it out through 7 categories of competition. Along with 5 other contestants, they looked over lists of numbers, foreign words, cards, and chess moves, and then under time pressure tried to reproduce them.
Mr. Dominic O'Brien.
Each time, Dominic proved stronger, and in the end, captured the title of the world's best memory man. For Dominic O'Brien, it was a beginning.
Because records are there to be broken, and I feel I can do it.
For Creighton Carvello, a new challenge. He expects to see his rival again.
He's fantastic, brilliant. I admire him. I think next year I'll be back, and I'll be ready for him next year.
And no doubt he will. Creighton Carvello has a long memory. Margaret Larson, NBC News, London.
Here's something to remember. Tonight's the night to set your clocks back 1 hour to standard time. If you don't, it might be earlier than you think. And time for us now to say that's nightly news for this Saturday. I'll see you tomorrow morning on Sunday Today. I'm Mary Alice Williams. For all the men and women of NBC, thank you. Good night.
I'm 27.